And welcome back to Weather Center. Breaking news right now. We do continue to track Category 2 Hurricane Alex, and we're going to hear from our hurricane expert, Dr. Knabb, standing by right now. But first, we want to get the very latest from Brownsville. And joining us right now on the phone is Chris Patterson, shelter coordinator in Brownsville. And
Chris, there are 2 shelters open in Brownsville. How many people are taking advantage of them?
Actually, right now we have 2 high schools, Porter High School and Pace High School in Brownsville. We have about 270 people at Porter and about 12 at Pace High School in the west part of town.
Now, who are these people? Are these people that live in like a danger zone? Do they live too close to the water? What's the situation, or what are the stories with these people who have taken shelter?
Actually, they're it's in the different neighborhoods of Brownsville, pretty much in the low-lying areas. And it's just people that know that their houses are not stable, and they take the action. The mayor put a good word out for everybody, and I think they took heed in that. And that's all it is families. We've got extended families. Some of them are 12 family members, extended family, like I said.
And how many more people are you anticipating to come tonight, or do you think everyone who's there is there?
Actually, it's hard to say, because depending on if the electrical goes out or something, they pretty much know. We've been through this before down here, and I mean, everybody's come together really well. Our emergency operations center, the mayor, and our people who run the operations over there doing really well getting the word out to everybody.
Yeah, and
so we have no idea how many people are going to come down here right now.
Well, we're certainly glad. So 2 are open in Brownsville. Again, what are the schools' names, Chris?
It's Porter High School off the International Boulevard and Pace High School in the west part of town, kind of by Military Highway. We're trying to get everybody to go to Pace right now. We probably almost at capacity over at Porter High School. All
right, so Pace High School it is. Thank you very much, Chris. We certainly appreciate it. So again, 200 people right now taking advantage of that because, of course, of all the flooding in Brownsville.
And right now we want to go back live to South Padre Island, and meteorologist Jim Cantore is going to join us now with the very latest. What's going on there, Jim?
Hey guys, I think I found a pretty interesting fact here, and we're going to bring in Dr. Knabb. I may catch him off guard with this one, so you may have to look it up a little bit. But 1957 Hurricane Audrey, Cat 4, Audrey in 1957, strongest hurricane on record for June. Now this thing produced a pressure of 947 millibars, Alex. Audrey's pressure was 946 millibars. So Dr. Knabb, we're closing in certainly on one of the strongest low pressure systems on record in June here, aren't we?
We are in terms of pressure, in terms of the deepness of the system, but the winds I don't think are going to catch up to what that prior storm was.
No.
And again, well, like we've been talking about, size matters, structure matters, and pressure and wind don't always match up. And the more of these big storms we get in the Gulf, the more we learn about that, Jim.
Yeah, that's an amazing fact. I think Audrey's winds were at 145 miles an hour, not to mention the pressure was estimated as opposed to measured with Alex, but still, it's definitely gone into its own criterion. Does that worry you, Dr. Knabb, a little bit from what you've seen? I mean, here's a tropical wave that moved all the way across the Atlantic, not so unharmed that it couldn't hold together in some fashion, and eventually became Alex and produced what was really a monster-sized hurricane for this time of the year.
In some ways, this looks and feels like a hurricane that you'd see develop later in the hurricane season, that develops off a tropical wave. Now, it did develop as a tropical cyclone, a storm, in the Western Caribbean, which is a typical location for June. So in that respect, it wasn't out of the ordinary. But the method by which it formed, and as strong and as large as it got this early in the season, maybe that portends a busy season, but we've got other reasons to be concerned about why the year might be busy. Now, the center of circulation looks like it's just about on shore. It's really close, so not surprising that National Hurricane Center is saying they'll probably declare landfall of the center of circulation here before too much longer. But where you are, Jim, there's still some bands being slung around the top there, so the rain and the wind is not over, but I think your chance of getting sustained hurricane force winds is about over. And not sure what you're experiencing right now.
I think the worst of it is over as well. But still, it's still going to be an ugly night. We know that. And let me ask you something. Is this a clear-cut case where this thing comes in and keeps chugging along and weakens? Or do we have an Allison-esque system, if you will, where it comes in, weakens, but yet the circulation holds together enough where it just sits over the lower Rio Grande and dumps and dumps and dumps heavy rain?
I think the most likely scenario is that we've got just enough of a ridge to the north to push this system well inland. Now, that's good for weakening it in terms of the winds because it'll eventually get over the mountainous portion of central Mexico, and that'll tear up the circulation. But that's bad in some ways because that puts more and more of all this rain and moisture into the Monterrey, Mexico area, and it falls in these mountainous areas, and the water can come back down slope and cause immediate flash flooding and then get into the Rio Grande River Valley and have a long-term river flood situation. So maybe it's not so much a problem because it's going to stall, but it's a problem because there's so much moisture and where it's going in a mountainous area with a river basin.
So, Dr. Knabb, like Allison in 95, the worst impacts of it will be post-landfall.
I fear that might be the case, that we're going to have a situation where we get a big tropical storm that is going to be hurricane now, then it'll weaken to a tropical storm, and then eventually a depression. And I think I've got a graphic here that I can bring up that'll depict for you where we think the significant wind will happen. That's going to be confined to the coast. But here, Jim, this is what I wanted to show. This is the area in white where we feel there's a grave threat of flash flooding and mudslides. Could be a long-term event beyond that, too, Jim.
All right, Dr. Rick Knabb, our hurricane expert here at the Weather Channel. Guys, much more to come as we continue to follow Alex's landfall and certainly talk about this and put it in historic perspective. It certainly deserves that given the size and the incredible low pressure that we've seen measured by the Hurricane Hunter aircraft. Stick around.
And breaking news right now, we believe that Hurricane Alex is most likely making landfall right now. I'm Chris Warren.
And I'm Alexandra Steele. Of course, we have live team coverage. Our own storm tracker, Jim Cantore, live in South Padre Island. Meteorologist Mike Seidel, live in Brownsville, Texas. And our own hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb, analyzing and tracking the storm from our Atlanta headquarters.
We'll have more from all of them in just a minute, but first to new information on this hurricane. Let's get started right now with the live coverage. We're going to get that with Jim Cantore.
Hey guys, yeah, it's been a busy night at the Weather Channel, that's for sure. I actually took the jacket off here, out here in the field because we finally got out of the rain, and I'll tell you, when it starts coming down horizontal, I don't care what you're wearing, it's going to get in there. So it feels nice to kind of air out a little bit after several hours in this thing now. We've really seen some pretty decent changes out here. The winds have calmed a little bit. We've also seen the waves really calm down. We were at low tide, so that certainly helps out. And so the beaches aren't taking the bashing that they are, but because we're going to have onshore winds, that perhaps will change tomorrow morning at 8:58 when we get that high tide. I want to bring in our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. And Rick, we certainly dodged one here. I mean, you know, sporadic power outages, some flash flooding from time to time, and occasional road closure is certainly a lot worse than what we could have gotten here with a direct hit from this thing, isn't it?
Oh, you are so right, Jim. If this system had been a little bit farther to the north, and a couple days ago it certainly looked like that was a possibility. The center of circulation is coming ashore a little more than 100 miles south of Brownsville, and the hurricane force winds extend north from the center about 70 miles. So it wouldn't have taken much more of a jog to the right during the day today to bring the hurricane force winds there. And of course, had it come in 100 miles to the north, the Brownsville would have received the brunt of this system. And I fear what would happen one of these days if you get the northern side, the northern eye wall, go right into the Rio Grande, the mouth of the river, and over Brownsville, Jim.
Yeah, well, we still got a long season ahead of us, buddy, so we're not going to count this area out yet. It wouldn't be the first time it got hit twice in 1 year, that's for sure. But let's talk about this now that it's come inland. And we've seen this before, especially with Texas hurricanes. One that I'm speaking of is Allison back in 1995. It was a hurricane. I think it was actually the last June hurricane that we've had, to be honest with you. But anyway, as it came in, it was the remnants that really caused the problem as it sat over Houston with 20-plus inches of rain overnight and just caused catastrophic flooding. Now, is this going to be a system that just tracks in and keeps moving? Or as it weakens, does it have the potential to get stuck in the lower Rio Grande Valley?
We think it's going to keep moving. It's moving inland at about 12 miles per hour, and that's about an average forward speed for a hurricane overall. So it's not going really slow. It doesn't look like it's going to stall, and all the computer models suggest that this ridge that's to the north of it that's pushing it inland is going to keep pushing it inland, and that's going to prevent it from stalling and will allow the system to weaken over land and eventually the mountainous terrain of inland northern Mexico. But that's going to put the rainfall into that mountainous area near Monterrey, Mexico, and so you're going to have the flash flood threat immediately when the rain falls on the mountain slopes, and then the long-term flood threat when you get into the Rio Grande Valley over the next several days. So this could be a river flooding event that unfolds over the next week, Jim.
So again, the worst impacts from Alex, like Allison, will be post-landfall.
I fear that they will be. You know, I'm showing the water rise impacts here on this graphic about what's happening at the coast, and that's certainly a significant hazard, especially down in Mexico where the system is coming ashore, and we've had water rises all up and down the Texas coast, and you've had the rainfall and the tornadoes and the winds in the Brownsville area. So the immediate coastal impacts, yes, but wait until this system gets farther inland. This event is not over when landfall is declared. That's probably just the beginning of the big rainfall and flood event, Jim.
Right, and as long as you have that graphic up, and I'm sorry, I was supposed to ask you this first, and I apologize for that. But with respect to water rise, now that it is inland, now that it's inland, if you will, or coming in, does this mean we're not going to see as substantial a water rise as we could have?
Well, yeah, the onshore flow is continuing, so it's not like the water is just going to recede.